In that place between wakefulness and sleep, I found myself in a room. This room did not have any distinguishing features except the fact that the walls were made of bookshelves filled with books, just like the ones you would find in a library, where the books are arranged according to author or subject index in an alphabetical order. But these books were different. The books rose from the floor and seemed to go up into the ceiling and go on forever and ever. There were books of different sizes, books of different shapes, books of different colors. I walked over to the bookshelf and I pulled one out. The title read, Girls I Have Liked. I smiled and I opened it and began to flip through the pages. And then I shut it quickly, shocked to realize that I recognized the name written on every page of this book. Then it dawned on me. Without being told, I know exactly where I was. This room, with its many books, was a complete library of my life. In these books were written my every word, my every action, my every thought in a detail so exact that my memory could never match. Now, in awe mingled with fear, I began to flip through the books. Flip through them. Some brought back happy memories, and some brought back a sense of shame so intense that I had to keep looking over my shoulder to see if anybody was watching. A book titled Friends was side by side with another titled Friends I Have Betrayed. Now, the titles range from the mundane to the outright weird. Titles like Jokes I Have Shared, titles like Things I Have Muttered Against My Parents Under My Breath. I was simply overwhelmed by the sheer volume of life I had lived. Could it be possible that in the little years I have spent here on earth, that I could have written all these thousands and even millions of books? But each book confirmed the truth. Each was written in my own handwriting and signed with my own signature. I saw a book. It seemed to be the largest book in the whole room. I walked over to the bookshelf and I dragged it down. The title read, Television Programs I Have Watched. As I flipped through the book, I closed it with a sense of shame. Shame, not at the quality of the television programs I had watched, but at the time that I knew this book represented. I glanced back at the bookshelf and I noticed a bright multicolored book. I removed it and the title read, Lustful Thoughts. As I read through the book, I felt a sense of shame rise. And it just made me sick to realize that my most secret thoughts were documented in such detail. My disgust turned to anger, and one thought dominated my mind. Nobody, absolutely nobody should see this book. I must destroy it. I tried to tear out the pages, but they seemed to be made of steel. I banged the book against the floor to unseat its binding, but it was not possible. It was totally indestructible. In frustration, I gave up and flung the book against the bookshelf. It hit the bookshelf and dislodged another book. I bent down and picked up the book. It was so tiny, it was so small, as if it contained nothing. And the title read, People I Have Shared the Gospel With. I opened it and it was empty. No name was written on it. The vanity of my wasted years weighed heavily on me, and I sank to my knees in shame. I burst into tears, confused and resigned. And as I cried, I felt a presence in the room. I turned around, And through my tears, I saw a man dressed in white. He had the kindest smile I had ever seen, and I knew it was Jesus. Oh no, I thought. Not here. Not now. This was not the right place to meet Jesus. But there he was. He walked over to me. He could have said something to encourage me or even rebuked me, but he said nothing. He just held me and he cried with me. He held me and he cried with me. Then suddenly he left me and walked over to the bookshelf. And he started flipping through the books. Instinctively, he picked the worst ones, and as he read, he would occasionally glance over to me, but I could not meet his eyes for shame. I then noticed that he was writing something on the book. No, I shouted. All I could say was, no, your name should not be on that book. I rushed over and grabbed the book, but it was too late. There it was, written in red. A red so rich, a red so alive. The name of Jesus was written over mine. It was written in his blood. Jesus slowly collected the book back and continued signing his name on the pages. I don't know how he did it, but next thing I knew, he had finished signing all the books in the room. Then he walked over to me and he said, "It is finished." At his words, a sense of relief settled on me. Jesus continued saying, "My son, you still have many books to write in your lifetime. Write books that will give glory to me and to my Father in heaven." And as he gradually faded away, I drifted back to sleep with the assurance that Jesus had saved my soul.